Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're going to be talking about the spell Irresistible Dance.
Mm.
All right.
Show my schmooze off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it. What does Irresistible Dance do? This is Otto's Irresistible Dance.
That it is.
Yes.
This
All
is a
right.
6th level enchantment spell. It costs an action to cast. It's got 30-foot range. It's pretty short. Just a verbal component. You just gotta be like dance. It's got a 1-minute duration with concentration. Bummer, but it's fine. You gotta pick something to concentrate on, right? You pick a creature you can see within 30 feet, and then begins a comedic dance in place, shuffling, tapping its feet, and capering for the duration. Creatures that can't be charmed are immune to this effect. A dancing creature must use all of its movement to dance without leaving its space, has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws and attack rolls. While the target is affected by the spell, other creatures have advantage on attack rolls against it. As an action, a dancing creature can make a wisdom save to regain control of itself. On a successful save, the spell ends. So this spell doesn't go for it.
No, I was going to say the initial casting, they don't get a saving throw, correct?
Nope.
It's just that you say dance and they start dancing.
Correct.
If they're not immune to being charmed.
Correct.
All right. Well, that's something. All right.
It is.
You were going to say something?
So yeah, out the gate, this is a weird one. There are saber dies elsewhere in this game, like Hold Person, that are way lower level than this, that offer a way more powerful effect that are attached to saving throws. Irresistible Dance has the real upside of it targets anything. A lot of those are niche. Even like Hold Monster, which I think is just a 5th level. I could be wrong. I'll double check on Hold Monster real quick. But they normally require the save out the gate, which automatically means they are basically useless against things with legendary resistance, unless you have enough of them to eat through enough legendary resistance. Yeah, Hold Monster takes 5th level spell slot, so it's 1 level lower than this. And it paralyzes things where this just makes them dance. The paralyzation is way better than this. So whenever you're going to cast Irresistible Dance, the windows you would like to do it are: 1, you are really into the Irresistible Dance fantasy, which I get. It is a very fun spell. Or B, you're against something with legendary resistance. Those are the 2 instances where I think this is pretty usable. We did a video on Maze relatively recently, and I talked about how you should just cast this instead of Maze. And the reasoning is more or less the same. If the creature is irresistibly dancing using all its movement, it can still take actions if it's got like a big range threat. But if it's any kind of melee attacker, this does almost the exact same thing as that creature's just stuck for a while. That's often just gonna be good enough.
All right, you compared Hold Person, Hold Monster. The upside, of course, to one of those lower level spells is that it is paralyzed, and that is that's huge. You're auto hitting. Is it advantage to hit and auto critting? Is that what it is?
Yes.
And in this case, you're just getting advantage to your attack rolls. However, I think that initial like auto dance can allow for it can be worth it if it allows the rest of your party to just wail on this dancing guy for 1 round guaranteed, perhaps more if they fail their saving throw next time around.
Like there'll be situations where the monster goes after, like the bard goes right after the monster goes, and the rest of the party goes after the bard. And in that instance, this is just everyone for a 6th level spell has advantage on all attack rolls against that thing. Just that thing, everyone gets advantage on all attack rolls against it. Easy peasy. Kick the shit out of it. Monk go hit it 5 times. Barbarian go hit it twice. Fighter go hit it 4 times. Whale into it with advantage. Going to be fishing for a lot more crits that way. It'll be, generally speaking, quite good. That's kind of best use case. And this is something that you don't hate to cast on like anything that's relatively large. This is, I think, comparable to Hold Monster in that if you can afford if you don't need it to be paralyzed to win the fight. If you think that paralysis is just a little bit of extra upside and dance is enough, dance is definitely a safer option to go with.
Yeah.
And the fact that those 2 spells are comparable, I think should really highlight why this spell is decent. Because it does cost a higher level spell slot, but it is a lower risk with a pretty decent effect. Now, if initiative is not in your favor, if the monster goes immediately after you, the spell gets quite a bit worse because you're basically eating an action at least, which is good-ish. Eating their action to make them make a whiz save is like that's the worst case. That's the worst case scenario, right? Because they make the save, they pass it, the effect ends, and they get to move into whatever else. Still, you're trading an action for an action. That isn't the end of the world. And if the upside is you can eat 2 or 3, 4 actions with it, it's very good.
Or, I mean, all your friends kill it, and it doesn't get any more actions. That's also good.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yep. I should also note, I think I could be wrong on this, but I'm confident. If you hit a flying creature with this, and granted this is only range 30, so it has to be like flying by. But if you hit a flying creature with this, I believe it just starts dancing and falls. So that it could be a way to throw some griffins off cliffs. Not gonna happen all the time, but
no, that's gonna be really rare, I think, because of that limiting range. I mean, even if they're swooping down, cast the most they're gonna fall is 30 feet, which isn't huge, unless of course you're standing on the edge of a cliff and it swoops, and but
it's high fantasy. Maybe there's some airship fights or something. But most of the time it's kind of a moot point. But I figure it's a little rules thing that you might want to look up if you're going to consider taking the spell and want to use it a lot.
You compared it to Maze as well, or at least when we were talking about Maze. I like this. I like this more than Maze because I don't like Maze very much, but it's a similar effect in that you effectively disable someone for at least one round. But now with Maze, they're shunted off to some extra dimensional maze, and they'll come back eventually at the power they had when you sent them there. This one, at least, while they're disabled, you get to beat on them for a little while.
True. There are some upsides to having things that get banished, right? Like Troglodyte Stench, Dragon's Frightful Presence. There are just effects that persist around monsters pretty frequently that you're going to want to be gone. But that isn't so much of an upside that it's like that much of an issue. Especially if we're looking at things just like, things in the area have disadvantage on attack rolls. Well, you mitigate that entirely and you're still getting to will on the thing. So it's mainly just upside. There is the real thing that I haven't talked much about. They don't have to spend their action making the save. They can choose to continue to take regular actions, but they can just no longer move. So there will be some suite of creatures that don't want to be making ranged or melee attack rolls at all, don't want to be getting moving anywhere else, that'll be perfectly happy with wherever they're standing, especially if the party runs into it and starts killing them. They don't have to necessarily move at all. They just be like, yeah, fine, I'll keep dancing here, whatever, and then start kicking the crap out of everyone else. So there is some give and take.
Well, they get disadvantage on their attacks, right?
They do.
Yeah.
So there's an incentive for them to stop. But like if they were in a situation where it is kill or be killed, they're probably going to throw out a couple last punches before going down as opposed to wasting actions, especially if they're really dumb, right? Like if you're doing something with a very low whiz score, there's no chance. If it has like a 10 int and a low whiz, they're not stopping dancing. They're just throwing their fists around. Which is
I like that.
Pretty fun.
You're forcing your enemy to make a bad decision. Either one they choose, not great for them.
Now, is it 6th level a slot like power?
I don't know.
Not.
I don't know because I'm going to say yes because I think it's worth it to be able to. Yeah, like I said, you get one guaranteed loss of turn with the potential for more.
I am a big proponent of spells that always do something, and this definitely does always do something, which earns a lot of points in my book. I think that's a biasy that I have, and that I think there's probably a fair chance that a 4th level polymorph spell, wherever you can just be like, okay, it's a squirrel right now, everyone stand around it, and then everyone attacks it all at once, and then it turns back into its regular form, and you have the full round of attacking it, may still would just be better because of how much cheaper it is, right? Only being a 4th level versus a 6th level slot for a similar enough effect. That's where my head is at. Still, there are going to be times where you're like, I really don't want this to fail. Irresistible Dance. And I think in that instance, that justifies its existence for sure. Again, slot wise, maybe not, but I'm comfortable. I would put this on my sheets.
Yeah, me too, because it's not fun and silly too.
Oh, absolutely. One other thing that I'm going to complain about: Wizards get this spell. Boo! Let this be a Bard exclusive. This deserves to be a Bard exclusive.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Oh, shame on you, Wizards of the Coast. I don't care if Otto was originally Wizard. This is a Bard spell. 110%. Boom.
Yeah, it could have been like, Fred's Irresistible Dance.
Sure.
Whatever. Oh.
That was a really great pause before
Fred the Bard. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like you like dug into your mind like Bard name, Fred.
Yeah, that's what happened.
All right, I'm gonna go rate this a 3. I think this is a
Really?
perfectly fine Saber die. I think I'm overrating it a little bit. This is probably not worth the spell level, but the consistency is very appealing to me. So
I'm gonna go a notch above. I'm gonna say a 4. I do like the, guaranteed effect. I think that's worth it. I don't know. I don't feel like 6 levels too high for this one.
Okay.
So it kind of makes me happy.
It does
Yeah.
make them irresistibly dance too. So
Yes,
that is
and
a
this is,
huge points.
after the past few spells we've been doing. We need a win. All right.
A 3's a win to me. I'll take these.
All right. All right. Well, that was Irresistible Dance. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.